At 6:47 a.m. on February 18, 1944, Staff Sergeant Vincent Mariano crouched in a reinforced dugout at Anzio Beachhead, Italy, listening to 6 German soldiers cross 300 yards of no man's land through smoke so thick he couldn't see his own hands. 28 years old, 12 years as a Pennsylvania coal miner, 42 confirmed kills before Anzio, 0 kills in the 3 weeks since. The Germans were moving through artillery smoke, boots crunching frozen mud, voices low and disciplined. Mariano could hear every footstep, could track their movement by sound alone, could calculate their position to within 10 feet. But he couldn't see them. And standard sniper doctrine said, "Don't shoot what you can't see." The doctrine had killed 3 American snipers in the past 2 weeks. Mariano was about to break it. Anzio was a trap. 15 miles of beachhead on the Italian coast, surrounded on 3 sides by German forces holding high ground. The Allies had landed here on January 22nd, expecting a quick breakout. Instead, they got pinned against the Mediterranean with nowhere to go. The Germans had the advantage of elevation, artillery, and something more valuable than either: smoke. At Anzio, visibility was always compromised. Artillery shells threw up clouds of dust and cordite. Burning vehicles created black smoke columns visible for miles. Morning fog rolled in from the sea, afternoon haze mixed with explosion residue. The beachhead existed in a permanent state of obscuration. Average visibility ranged from 80 to 150 yards. On bad days, it dropped to 40. For snipers, this was catastrophic. An M1903A4 rifle could kill effectively at 600 yards. At Anzio, snipers were lucky to see 150. The Germans had learned this by the end of January. They timed their attacks for maximum obscuration. Advanced during artillery barrages when smoke reduced visibility to near 0. Repositioned during fog. Infiltrated during the haze hours when you could barely see 200 yards. American sniper doctrine said, wait for clear conditions before engaging. But at Anzio, clear conditions lasted maybe 20 minutes per day, usually at noon, never during German attacks. The statistics were brutal. In the first 6 weeks at Anzio, the American sniper casualty rate hit 47%. Highest of any theater in World War II. 16 snipers killed, 11 wounded, out of 57 assigned to the beachhead. Most died waiting for visibility that never came. Died following doctrine that assumed you could see your target. At Anzio, that assumption killed you. The first sniper Mariano lost was Corporal James Sullivan. Kentucky kid, 22 years old, good shooter, better than good. Sullivan died on February 3rd during a German probe. He'd been in position since 0530, watching no man's land through his scope. German artillery started at 0615. Smoke rolled across the field. Sullivan waited for it to clear. Doctrine said wait. The smoke never cleared. German infantry advanced through it. They found Sullivan's position, shot him before he ever fired a round. He died following orders. Sergeant Robert Chen went next. February 9th. California, 26 years old, veteran of North Africa. Chen had a German officer in his sights. At his sights at 200 yards. Perfect shot, clear day. Then German 88s started hitting American positions. Smoke from the impacts obscured everything in 30 seconds. Chen lost the shot, lost visual on the officer. The officer directed an attack that overran Chen's sector, killed Chen's spotter with machine gun fire. Chen tried to withdraw, got caught in the open. They found his body with his rifle still in his hands. He'd been waiting for the smoke to clear so he could return fire. It hadn't cleared. Private First Class Michael Torres died on February 14th. Texas kid, 19 years old, his first combat assignment. Torres was in a forward observation post when Germans attacked through morning fog. Visibility dropped to 60 yards. Torres could hear Germans advancing, could hear them talking, sat in his hide waiting for doctrine to work, waiting for visibility to improve. The Germans found him waiting. He never fired a shot. 3 snipers, 3 deaths, same cause. They followed the manual. The manual said wait for clear conditions. At Anzio, clear conditions were a myth. Vincent Mariano attended all 3 field burials, watched them lower Sullivan into Italian soil on February 4th, watched them bury Chen on February 10th, stood in the rain when they buried Torres on February 15th. 3 boxes, 3 flags, 3 sets of personal effects shipped home to families who'd never understand that doctrine killed their sons more than German bullets did. Mariano stopped sleeping after Torres, started questioning everything. He'd been a sniper for 8 months, a soldier for 2 years, a coal miner for 12 years before that. The coal mining mattered more than people understood. Vincent Mariano was born in Scranton, Pennsylvania, in 1916. His father worked the anthracite mines. His grandfather worked the mines. Mariano went underground at 16, spent 12 years in shafts where daylight never reached. You learn things in coal mines that surface workers never understood. You learned to work by feel when you couldn't see. You learned to navigate by sound when your headlamp died. You learned to read air currents in the dark, to smell gas before instruments detected it, to move through spaces where your eyes were useless. Mariano's father taught him to shoot rats in the mine shafts. Rats ate through equipment, chewed electrical cables, spread disease. Someone had to kill them. Mariano did it with a .22 rifle in near total darkness. You couldn't use sights underground. Couldn't see sights in the dark. You shot by sound, by muzzle flash triangulation, by instinct developed over thousands of shots where vision was irrelevant. His father told him something that stuck. Your eyes lie in the dark, Vinny. Trust your ears, trust your hands. Trust what you know instead of what you see. Mariano carried that into the Army. Enlisted December 1941, 3 days after Pearl Harbor. Made sniper school by June 1943. The instructors liked him because he was methodical, patient, precise. Perfect execution of doctrine. He could shoot a dime at 400 yards in clear conditions. Could track targets through scope glass without losing focus. Could calculate wind, elevation, temperature effects faster than most snipers with twice his experience. North Africa gave him 18 kills. Sicily gave him 24 more. 42 confirmed before Anzio. Everyone by the book. Everyone in clear visibility. Everyone exactly what the manual taught. Then Anzio happened. 3 weeks on the beachhead, 0 kills. Not because Mariano couldn't shoot. Because doctrine said, don't shoot through smoke. And Anzio was always smoke. Torres's death changed something. Mariano started thinking about coal mines, about shooting rats in shaft number 7, where you couldn't see your hand 6 inches from your face. About his father's voice. About trusting things other than eyes. The change came on February 18th at 06:32. Mariano was in his forward observation post, a reinforced dugout 80 yards behind the front line. Good position, concealed, overhead cover against artillery. He'd been there since 0500, watching no man's land through his M1903 A4 scope. The morning was quiet. Too quiet. Germans usually probed at dawn. At 06:30, the 88 started. German artillery, systematic targeting, walking shells across American positions. Mariano's dugout was solid, built to handle near misses, but near misses still threw shrapnel. One shell landed 40 yards out, close enough that Mariano felt the pressure wave, close enough that metal fragments peppered his position like rain on a tin roof. The dugout held. Mariano was fine. His rifle wasn't. He checked it immediately. Stock intact, barrel intact, bolt mechanism functional. But the scope housing had taken shrapnel. 3 small punctures in the metal tube. Mariano looked through the scope. The glass was intact. The magnification worked. But the reticle was shattered. The crosshairs were gone. What remained looked like a broken windshield, spiderweb cracks with metal fragments scattered across the aiming point. The scope showed a clear, magnified image, but there was nothing to aim with. No reference point, no crosshairs, just glass and destruction where precision should be. Standard procedure was simple. Tag the rifle as deadlined equipment, fill out a maintenance request form, submit it to supply, wait for a replacement scope to ship from the United States. Typical wait time, 4 to 6 weeks. At Anzio, maybe 8 weeks. Supply lines were stretched thin. Scopes weren't priority items. Meanwhile, turn in the damaged rifle. Draw a standard M1903 without scope. Become a regular rifleman. Stop being a sniper until supply fixed the problem. Mariano looked at his broken scope for 3 full minutes. Thought about Sullivan waiting for smoke to clear. Thought about Chen losing his shot. Thought about Torres dying in the fog. Thought about shaft number 7 and shooting rats without sights in darkness so complete you couldn't see the rats until they were dead. His father's voice came back. Your eyes lie. Trust what you know. Mariano made a decision that would get him court-martialed if it went wrong. He didn't report the damage. Kept the broken scope. Started testing something no sniper manual had ever taught. His spotter found him that afternoon. Private Eddie Kowalski, 21 years old, Detroit kid, good eyes, better instincts. Kowalski looked through Mariano's scope, saw the shattered reticle. Sarge, your scope's wrecked. You putting in for replacement? No. How you gonna aim without crosshairs? Going to try something different. Kowalski stared at him. Different like what? Different like not aiming with crosshairs. That's insane. Probably. Word spread fast. By evening, every sniper in 3rd Platoon knew. Mariano's scope was broken, and he refused to replace it. Some thought he was in shock from the artillery. Others thought he'd cracked from watching Sullivan, Chen, and Torres die. Most thought he was just stubborn. Coal miner stubborn. The kind of stubborn that gets people killed. Sergeant First Class William Morrison came to Mariano's dugout at 1800 hours. Morrison was section leader, 15 years Army, 3 combat campaigns. He looked at the broken scope and shook his head. Mariano, you can't shoot through broken glass. Get a new scope. Glass works fine, Sergeant. Just missing the crosshairs. Crosshairs are how you aim. That's like flying without instruments. Miners don't use instruments underground. We use what works. You're not underground. You're in a combat zone with broken equipment. Equipment's not broken. It's different. Morrison's jaw tightened. I'm ordering you to requisition a replacement. Yes, Sergeant. I'll file the paperwork. Mariano never filed it. By February 19th, other snipers had started calling him Blind Vinny, the crazy coal miner who thought he could shoot without aiming, the guy who'd rather use broken equipment than admit he needed help. Captain James Whitaker heard about it by noon. Company commander, West Point, by-the-book officer. He called Mariano to the command post. I hear your scope's damaged. Yes, sir. I hear you refuse to replace it. Testing an alternative method, sir. What method? Shooting without reticle reference. Whitaker looked at him like he'd suggested flying to Berlin. That's not possible. Won't know until I test it, sir. You'll test it with proper equipment. Get a new scope. That's an order. Yes, sir. Mariano walked out. Didn't requisition anything. He had 48 hours before Morrison forced the issue and deadlined his rifle officially. 48 hours to prove that 12 years underground shooting rats in the dark meant more than any manual written by people who'd never worked where your eyes were worthless. 48 hours to prove that smoke wasn't the problem. It was the solution. The night of February 18th, Mariano didn't sleep. He sat in his dugout watching smoke patterns drift across no man's land, watching how artillery smoke moved, how it flowed, how it behaved. He'd spent 12 years watching coal dust in mine shafts. Coal dust moved like smoke. Same fluid dynamics, same predictable patterns. In shaft number 7, you could track rats by watching how dust displaced around them. The rats were invisible in the dark, but dust showed where they moved, showed their speed, direction, size. You learned to see the absence of something instead of the thing itself. Mariano watched friendly machine gun tracers cut through the smoke at 10-degree angles. Every fifth round was a tracer. Phosphorus-tipped, visible burn. The tracers created reference lines through the obscuration, visible paths through invisible space, like chalk lines in a coal mine showing where the shaft went. German muzzle flashes sparked through the smoke. Brief point sources. There 1 second, gone the next. But each flash marked a position, range, direction, elevation. If you knew where the flash originated, you knew where the shooter was. Wind moved smoke at predictable speeds. Mariano had calculated wind velocity for 3 weeks. Southeast wind, 8 miles per hour average. Smoke displaced at wind speed plus momentum from the explosion that created it. You could calculate how fast smoke moved. Once you knew that, you could calculate how fast something moving through smoke would create displacement patterns. The insight came at 0200. Mariano was watching smoke drift past his position when he saw it. A disturbance. Nothing visible, just smoke moving wrong, flowing around something solid. The displacement pattern lasted 3 seconds. Something man-sized had crossed 80 yards out. Mariano couldn't see what, but he could see how smoke moved around it. He remembered his father's words. Trust what you know instead of what you see. What Mariano knew. Smoke flows around solid objects, creates displacement, disruption visible even when the object isn't. You don't need to see the target. You need to see how smoke reacts to the target. His broken scope became an advantage. Without crosshairs to fixate on, Mariano's eyes couldn't lock on center mass, couldn't focus on the middle of the scope image. The shattered reticle forced peripheral vision, made him see the whole picture instead of one aiming point, and smoke reading required peripheral awareness, required seeing patterns across the entire field, not just where crosshairs pointed. Mariano spent 6 hours mapping smoke patterns, learning wind effects, calculating displacement speeds. By 0600 on February 19th, he had a method, untested, unproven, completely insane by every standard of sniper doctrine. But it might work. At 0620, the test began. German artillery opened up. Standard morning barrage. 88s walking across American positions. Each impact through smoke columns 40 feet high. Overlapping coverage. Visibility dropped to 100 yards, then 80, then 60. At 0623, a friendly .30 caliber machine gun opened fire from the left flank. Tracers cut through the smoke at 10-degree elevation. The tracers created a reference grid, visible lines Mariano could use for ranging. Kowalski was next to him in the dugout, watching through binoculars. Can't see anything out there, Sarge. Watch the smoke. I am watching smoke, that's all there is. Watch how it moves. At 0628, Mariano saw it. Displacement at 280 yards, moving left to right. Not a visual target, just disruption in smoke flow. Shadow against shadow. The pattern moved at 2 miles per hour. Wind was 8 miles per hour from southeast. Smoke displaced around something man-sized. Mariano aimed 12 inches ahead of the displacement. Couldn't use crosshairs that didn't exist. Aimed by scope position, by muscle memory, by field-developed underground shooting rats he couldn't see. He fired. The displacement stopped moving. Smoke pattern changed. Something had fallen. Kowalski lowered his binoculars. Did you hit something? Don't know. I didn't see anything. Neither did I. At 0630, second displacement, 300 yards, moving toward American lines, Mariano led the shadow, fired. Displacement dropped. Different smoke pattern. Third, fourth, fifth shots. All its shadows in smoke. Mechanical precision. No fear. No hesitation. Mariano emptied his rifle in 90 seconds. 5 rounds at targets he never saw. The artillery stopped at 0640. Smoke began clearing. By 0645, visibility improved to 200 yards. American patrol went forward at 0700. They found 4 German bodies in no man's land. All headshots, all between 280 and 320 yards from Mariano's position. All killed within 90 seconds. Kowalski stared at the bodies being brought back. Jesus Christ, Sarge, you shot through smoke. I shot at what smoke showed me. Morrison arrived at 0730, demanded to know what happened. Kowalski explained. Morrison didn't believe it. Lucky shots. Coincidence. Test me again tomorrow, Sergeant. Morrison set parameters. Controlled test. He'd observed through spotting scope. February 20th, 0700 hours. Target. Known German observation post at 350 yards. Germans only exposed themselves during smoke cover. If Mariano could hit that OP through smoke, Morrison would believe it. Morning of the 20th came with vehicle fires creating smoke screens. Burning German truck at 200 yards created black smoke rolling across no man's land. Visibility dropped to 120 yards. At 0715, the smoke thickened. Mariano watched through his broken scope, watched smoke patterns, waited for displacement. 0718. There. Disruption at the OP location. Barely visible through obscuration. Shadow of a shadow. Man-sized object moving behind smoke. Mariano fired. Morrison was watching through his spotting scope from a different angle. He could see behind the smoke layer from his position. He watched the German observer fall backward. Morrison lowered the scope. His hands were shaking. You hit him, through smoke, at 350 yards. Coal dust moves like smoke, Sergeant. I've been reading patterns for 12 years. Can you teach this? Maybe. If they stop trying to see through smoke and start seeing smoke itself. By evening, every sniper in 3rd Division knew. Reaction split 3 ways. Some thought it was impossible. Some thought it was luck. 3 snipers asked Mariano to teach them. Captain Whitaker called Mariano to command post at 1900 hours. Demanded explanation. Mariano explained. Smoke displacement. Tracer reference grids. Movement patterns. Fluid dynamics from coal mine experience. Whitaker listened without interrupting. When Mariano finished, Whitaker said one thing. You have 1 week. If this is real, prove it. If it's luck, you're getting a new scope and following doctrine. February 21st through 27th. Mariano shot exclusively through smoke and obscuration. The numbers told the story. February 21st. 3 confirmed kills through smoke. February 22nd. 5 confirmed kills, all through artillery obscuration. February 23rd, 4 confirmed kills, 1 at 410 yards through morning fog. February 24th, 6 confirmed kills during German counterattack, all through smoke. Germans never saw where shots originated. February 25th, 2 confirmed kills through vehicle fire smoke. February 26th, 4 confirmed kills, including 1 German sniper shooting from smoke-covered position. February 27th, 3 confirmed kills through combined artillery and fog. Total, 27 confirmed kills in 7 days. Every single one through smoke or obscuration that reduced visibility below 100 yards. Average engagement distance, 310 yards through conditions that standard doctrine said made shooting impossible. German radio intercepts showed confusion. February 25th intercept, translated, American sniper activity increased despite continued obscuration. Source unknown, casualties mounting. Morrison watched Mariano work for 3 straight days, became a believer. Reported to Whitaker on February 25th. It's real, sir. He's reading smoke like you'd read a book. We need other snipers learning this. 3 volunteers stepped forward. Corporal Frank Martinez, Arizona, 24 years old. Sergeant Thomas Bailey, Georgia, 27. Private First Class Robert Jackson, Illinois, 22. Mariano taught them over 2 days. Not about shooting, about seeing. Stop trying to see through smoke. See smoke itself. Smoke moves around solid objects. Disruption pattern reveals position. Friendly tracers create reference grid. Use them for ranging. Target movement shows in smoke flow before you see the target. Then Mariano revealed his secret, the shattered reticle, showed them why it helped. Without crosshairs, you couldn't fixate on center mass. Forced peripheral vision, forced pattern recognition instead of point targeting. Martinez stared at the broken scope. You've been shooting without crosshairs this whole time? Crosshairs make you focus on center. Smoke needs peripheral awareness. All 3 students made a decision. They deliberately damaged their scope reticles. Mariano supervised. Used a small file to scratch the crosshairs. Not destruction, modification. Morrison found out within an hour. You're destroying government property. Martinez looked at him. We're improving our equipment, Sergeant. The week ended. 4 snipers at Anzio could shoot through smoke. Combined kills, February 26th through 27th, 34. Germans attacking through smoke they thought protected them. Germans dying to shots from enemies they never saw. Whitaker called Mariano to command post on February 28th. Division sniper coordinators coming. Major Henderson, West Point. He's heard about your technique. He thinks it's impossible. Then I'll show him it's not, sir. He's bringing orders to confiscate your rifle, deadline your equipment, court-martial you for destroying government property. Mariano said nothing. He'll be here at 0900 tomorrow. You've got 1 chance to prove this works. If you can't, you're done. Major Robert Henderson would arrive in 12 hours. By-the-book officer who believed sniper doctrine was written for a reason, who thought shooting through smoke violated everything the manual taught. Mariano had 12 hours to prepare a demonstration that would either change sniper warfare forever or end his career. He spent the time watching smoke. Major Robert Henderson arrived at 0900 on February 29, 1944. West Point, class of 1932, 12 years Army, 3 combat theaters. By-the-book officer who believed regulations existed for reasons. He carried 2 documents. One was a maintenance inspection form. The other was a court-martial recommendation for destruction of government property. Henderson inspected Mariano's rifle at 0915. Took 30 seconds to find the two. Shattered reticle. Looked through the scope. Saw clear glass, magnified image, destroyed crosshairs. This equipment is deadlined. You're shooting with damaged optics. 34 confirmed kills in 9 days, sir. Henderson's face didn't change. Impossible with a broken reticle. Morrison stepped forward. Showed Henderson the kill logs. Patrol reports confirming German bodies. Radio intercepts showing German confusion. Numbers that couldn't be argued with. Henderson read through everything. His expression shifted from skepticism to confusion. These numbers are inflated. No sniper shoots like this through Anzio conditions. Captain Whitaker spoke quietly. Test him yourself, Major. The test began at 0930. Henderson positioned himself with a spotting scope. Good angle, clear view of no man's land, despite smoke. German artillery had started at 0900. Heavy barrage. Smoke coverage extensive. Visibility dropped to 80 yards maximum. At 0923, German machine gun teams started repositioning. 340 yards out, moving through smoke from one fighting position to another. Standard German tactic. Move during obscuration when American snipers couldn't engage. Henderson could barely see movement through his spotting scope. Shadow of motion through smoke layers. Nothing definite. Nothing you could shoot at. Mariano spoke without taking his eye from his broken scope. 2 targets. Machine gun crew. 340 yards. Moving left. Henderson looked at him. I can barely see smoke at that range. Mariano fired. 2 seconds later, fired again. 2 shots. 3 seconds between them. The German machine gun went silent. When smoke cleared at 0940, patrol found both crew members dead. Headshots. 340 yards. Through smoke that had reduced Henderson's visibility to shadows and guesswork. Henderson examined Mariano's broken scope again, studied the shattered reticle, the clear glass, the method that shouldn't work, but did. How did you see them? Didn't see them, sir. Saw smoke move around them. Henderson was quiet for 2 minutes, calculating, processing, making a decision that would either end his career or change doctrine. I'm requesting permission to establish a training program. Morrison blinked. Sir, this technique works. I don't understand how, but the results are undeniable. We need more snipers trained on it. The official smoke shooting program began on March 3rd. Initial class, 12 snipers from 3rd Division. Mariano as lead instructor. First time he'd taught a formal class. First time anyone had taught what he knew. Curriculum developed over 5 days. Day 1, smoke observation, pattern recognition. Students spent 8 hours watching smoke move, learning to see displacement instead of targets. Day 2, tracer reference grid usage. How to use friendly machine gun fire as ranging tools. Day 3, displacement calculation. Mathematics of smoke flow, wind, effects, target speed estimation. Day 4, movement prediction through fluid dynamics. How to calculate where targets would be based on how smoke moved around them. Day 5, live fire through smoke. The broken scope question came up immediately. Should students damage their reticles? Mariano's answer, optional, but beneficial for those who fixate on crosshairs. If you can't stop looking at the center of your scope, you need to remove what you're looking at. 7 of 12 students deliberately scratched their reticles. Mariano supervised each modification, controlled damage, not destruction, modification for improved peripheral awareness. Graduation came on March 10th. 11 of 12 passed smoke shooting qualification, average successful engagement distance through smoke, 280 yards. Previous doctrine average, 0 yards. Doctrine prohibited shooting through obscuration entirely. One student failed. Couldn't break the habit of waiting for clear conditions. Couldn't accept that smoke showed targets instead of hiding them. Couldn't trust peripheral vision over crosshair focus. He went back to standard operations. 3 weeks later, German sniper killed him during fog. He'd been waiting for visibility to improve. Second class started March 12th. 18 snipers. Word had spread to 45th Division and 1st Armored Division. They wanted their snipers trained. Demand exceeded Mariano's capacity. Solution came from the graduates. Martinez, Bailey, Jackson volunteered as instructors, students teaching students. Technique spreading faster than any official doctrine ever had. By March 20th, 47 snipers trained in smoke shooting. Combat results validated everything. March 8th. Martinez engaged German platoon advancing through artillery smoke. 6 kills in 4 minutes. All through smoke at 300+ yards, German attack faltered. Survivors withdrew. Radio intercept afterward, translated. Advance halted. Casualties from unknown source. Recommend avoid smoke operations. March 12th. Bailey targeting German officer, coordinating counterattack from covered position. Officer used smoke for concealment. Thought he was safe. Bailey watched smoke displacement where officer stood. Calculated position from disruption pattern. Fired through smoke at 380 yards. Officer dead. German attack lost coordination. Collapsed within minutes. March 15th. Mariano engaged German infiltration team. 8 men crossing no man's land in fog. 0 visibility. Mariano killed all 8 in 90 seconds using pure displacement targeting. Range, 290 to 340 yards. Patrol found the bodies after fog lifted. Germans never knew what killed them. Never fired a shot in return. March 18th. Jackson counter-sniping. German sniper shooting from smoke-covered position. Thought smoke protected him. Jackson used muzzle flash as reference point. Calculated position. Returned fire through smoke. German sniper dead. First confirmed counter-sniper kill through complete obscuration. Statistical impact, March 1st through 20th. Trained snipers, 183 confirmed kills through smoke. Untrained snipers, same period, 34 confirmed kills in clear conditions only. Ratio improvement, 5.4 to 1. German casualty patterns changed. Previously, German attacks during smoke equaled safety. Now, German attacks during smoke equaled sniper kill zone. They noticed. Captured document dated March 21st. German intelligence assessment. American sniper effectiveness increased dramatically. New tactic allows engagement through smoke and obscuration. Recommend avoiding movement during reduced visibility. Source of new capability unknown. Germans tried countering it. 4 attempts. All failed. Attempt 1. Reduce movement during smoke. Units freeze when visibility drops. Result: prevents sniper kills but also prevents German advances. Can't attack while frozen. Tactical failure. Attempt 2. Increase smoke generation. Theory was more smoke equals more concealment. Germans tripled smoke during attacks. Result: created stronger displacement patterns, easier for trained snipers to read. Kill rate increased 23%. Complete backfire. Attempt 3. Eliminate American tracers. Target friendly machine guns first to remove reference grid. Partial success. But trained snipers adapted. Used German muzzle flashes as references instead. Limited effectiveness. Attempt 4. Counter-sniper operations. German snipers tried locating American smoke shooters. Problem: German snipers trained in conventional doctrine. Couldn't shoot through smoke themselves. Result: 4 German snipers killed by American smoke shooters. 0 American casualties. German frustration documented in captured diary. Lieutenant Klaus Weber, March 19th. The Americans have developed some new method. They shoot through smoke we cannot see through. Lost 14 men today to invisible enemy. Morale declining. Men refuse to advance during artillery smoke. March 22nd brought official recognition. Lieutenant General Mark Clark, 5th Army Commander, visited Anzio. Demonstration arranged. Mariano and 3 students. 12 targets engaged through heavy smoke. 11 hits in 3 minutes. Clark watched without expression. When the demonstration ended, he asked one question. "Why wasn't this developed earlier?" Henderson answered. "Because it required someone to break equipment and violate doctrine, sir." Clark's response came immediately. "I want every sniper in 5th Army trained on this technique within 30 days. Implementation challenges appeared instantly. Not enough instructors, not enough smoke-shooting qualified snipers. Some division commanders resisted, called it destruction of equipment, refused to authorize scope modifications. Compromise solution emerged. Core group of 20 instructors certified. Regional training centers established. Scope modification made voluntary but officially recognized as combat modification for reduced visibility operations. Official designation, displacement targeting through obscuration, DTO. Unofficial name among snipers, blind shooting, or Mariano's method. By March 31st, 140 snipers trained in DTO. April would bring more. The technique was spreading beyond Anzio, beyond Italy. Normandy invasion planning included DTO training for snipers expecting beach smoke from naval bombardment. Pacific Theater Marines requested training for jungle obscuration. One coal miner's broken scope had changed how snipers fought, changed what smoke meant, turned obscuration from German advantage into American weapon. The Germans had figured out Americans wouldn't shoot through smoke. Now Americans did. And Germans were dying for the assumption that smoke meant safety. It didn't. Not anymore. April 1944 brought DTO training beyond Anzio, beyond Italy. The technique spread to every theater where Americans fought. Normandy preparation accelerated. Snipers training for D-Day learned smoke shooting in April and May. Instructors emphasized beach conditions. Naval bombardment would create massive smoke. Burning landing craft, artillery impacts, dust from explosions mixing with salt spray. Visibility would be catastrophic. Standard doctrine said, wait for clear conditions. At Normandy, clear conditions wouldn't exist for hours, maybe days. Pacific Theater Marines requested training. Jungle combat created different obscuration. Rain, vegetation smoke from flamethrowers, humidity that reduced visibility to 100 yards on good days. Marine snipers needed displacement targeting as much as European theater snipers did. British Army Sniper School sent observers in May, watched Mariano teach, watched students shoot through smoke, requested permission to adopt the technique. Permission granted. By June, 89 British snipers trained in DTO. Soviet liaison officers learned about it through intelligence channels, adapted it for urban combat. Stalingrad had taught them about fighting in smoke and dust. DTO gave them methods for engaging through building fires and artillery obscuration. They never credited the source. Didn't matter. The technique worked regardless of who used it. Statistics by June 1944 told the story. European Theater, 340 snipers trained in DTO. Pacific Theater, 120 snipers trained, modified for jungle conditions. British forces, 89 snipers. Estimated enemy casualties attributable to DTO, 800 plus. Conservative estimate. Actual number probably higher. Doctrine evolved rapidly. April brought Field Manual 23-11 supplement. Engagement through obscuration. First official documentation of DTO principles. May brought authorization for scope modification. Controlled reticle damage became acceptable. June made DTO standard training for all new sniper school graduates. Springfield Armory tested intentionally modified scopes. Found optimal modification. Peripheral hash marks, no center crosshair. Mariano's accidental discovery became manufacturing standard. New production scopes included reduced reticle option by July. Mariano's personal war continued through spring. His combat record through May: 127 confirmed kills, 85 through smoke or obscuration. Longest shot through smoke, 420 yards, March 28th. German officer directing attack through artillery smoke. Mariano watched displacement pattern for 40 seconds. Calculated position. Fired. Officer dropped. Attack collapsed. Record single-day kills came April 2nd. German counterattack. Heavy smoke from preparatory bombardment. Mariano killed 9 Germans in 6 hours, all through smoke. All between 280 and 400 yards. Germans never located his position, never returned effective fire. They were shooting at shadows, while Mariano shot at displacement patterns. April 15th brought near death. German counter-sniper finally located Mariano's position. Shot through smoke using DTO technique. The Germans had learned it. Captured American training materials, adapted the method. Bullet passed 2 inches from Mariano's head. Close enough he felt the shock wave. Close enough he heard it crack past. Mariano recognized what happened immediately. Recognized displacement targeting being used against him. The German was reading smoke the same way Mariano did. First time Mariano faced someone who understood the technique. He returned fire through smoke. Watched for muzzle flash. Calculated position from flash point and smoke displacement. Fired 3 seconds after the German's shot. The German sniper died. First documented case of both snipers using DTO against each other. The technique had spread far enough that enemies were learning it. Promotion came April 20th. Sergeant First Class. Recognition for tactical innovation. Reassignment to full-time training duty. Mariano resisted. His place was on the line. Henderson overruled him. Your place is teaching. You save more lives as instructor than shooter. May brought permanent assignment to 5th Army Sniper School. Mariano trained 15 to 20 snipers per week through June. By end of May, personal training count exceeded 200 snipers. Those 200 collectively accounted for estimated 600+ enemy casualties through DTO. Multiplier effect. One coal miner teaching hundreds who each killed multiple enemies using his method. June 6, 1944. D-Day. Mariano remained in Italy on training duty. His students landed at Omaha and Utah beaches. Radio reports came back within hours. DTO techniques used effectively through landing smoke. Naval bombardment had created exactly the conditions instructors predicted. Smoke everywhere, standard. Snipers sat idle. DTO-trained snipers engaged through it. Estimated 40+ German defenders killed through smoke by Mariano-trained snipers on D-Day alone. Statistical analysis came in July. 5th Army compiled data February through June. Before DTO, January through February. Average kills per sniper per month, 2.3. Casualty rate, 47%. Engagement during reduced visibility, 0%. German smoke attacks, 78% success rate. After DTO, March through June. Average kills per sniper per month, 8.7 for trained snipers. Casualty rate, 19%. Engagement during reduced visibility, 73%. German smoke attacks, 31% success rate. Analysis showed kill rate increased 278%. Casualty rate decreased 60%. German smoke attack success decreased 60%. One technique. 3 major improvements. Broader impact beyond numbers. German tactics forced to adapt. Smoke shifted from German advantage to American advantage. Psychological impact on German infantry developed quickly. Radio intercepts showed morale decline related to invisible American snipers. Germans feared smoke, feared what they couldn't see, feared dying to enemies who shot through conditions that should have protected them. Enemy casualties directly attributable to DTO, February through June, 1,200 plus confirmed. Conservative estimate including only verified sniper kills through obscuration. Didn't count secondary effects, disrupted attacks, prevented movements, broken assaults. Actual impact probably double the confirmed number. American lives saved harder to calculate, but attempted anyway. Sniper casualty reduction. Estimated 85 snipers who would have died under old doctrine. Infantry casualties prevented by broken attacks, estimated 400 plus. Total American lives saved, 485 minimum. Conservative estimate. Real number probably higher. War ended May 1945 in Europe. August 1945 in Pacific. Mariano's final statistics. Combat tours in Italy and southern France. Confirmed kills 214, 147 through smoke or obscuration. Snipers personally trained, 340 plus. Training programs established, 7 across multiple theaters. October 1945 brought discharge. Master Sergeant Vincent Mariano returned to Scranton, Pennsylvania. Didn't return to coal mining. Opened small gunsmith shop. Mariano's custom rifles. Worked on civilian hunting weapons. Built custom stocks. Repaired scopes. Never mentioned the war unless asked. When asked, said he was a mechanic. Fixed guns, that's all. Rarely discussed combat. Refused interviews with military historians in 1947, 1952, 1958. When pressed about smoke shooting, gave same answer every time. Just did what needed doing. Married Helen Kowalski in 1946. Eddie Kowalski's sister. His spotter's family. 3 children, Vincent Jr., Marie, Robert. Worked the gunsmith shop 31 years. Known locally as quiet, skilled craftsman. Most customers never knew his war record. Never knew he'd changed sniper doctrine. Never knew 214 men had died to his rifle. Recognition came slowly, delayed by decades. 1967 brought Army sniper doctrine revision. Full chapter on displacement targeting. Credited combat development, Anzio 1944. Didn't mention Mariano by name, didn't mention the coal miner who invented it. Just listed it as field innovation from Italian campaign. 1973 brought military historian researching Anzio innovations. Found training records. Interviewed Henderson, now retired general. Henderson named Mariano as DTO originator. Historian contacted Mariano. Mariano declined interview. Said it wasn't just him. Martinez, Bailey, Jackson, 200 others. They did the work. 1981 brought Henderson's memoir. Chapter titled, The Coal Miner Who Changed Sniping. Detailed the broken scope, the smoke shooting, the impact. Henderson dedicated the book to the snipers who saw what others couldn't. Sent copy to Mariano. Mariano read it once, put it on shelf, never discussed it. 1989 brought Army Sniper Association reunion, event honoring World War II sniper innovations. Mariano attended reluctantly. Met 17 snipers he'd trained in 1944. They told him about careers, families, grandchildren, all alive because displacement targeting kept them effective and safe. Mariano's only comment, "You boys did good work." December 1998. Vincent Mariano died age 82. Pneumonia. Complications from coal dust exposure from pre-war mining. Funeral in Scranton. 43 people attended. 12 were former students from 1944. They'd traveled from across the country. Average age 73. Martinez spoke. Age 78 now. Vinny taught us to see different. Not to see through problems, but to see what problems show us. He took broken equipment and made it better. Took impossible conditions and made them opportunities. That's not just tactics. That's how you live. Bailey added. Age 77. 214 confirmed kills, 340 snipers trained, 1,200 enemy killed by his method, 500 Americans saved. But Vinny never counted any of that. Only thing he counted was whether his boys came home. We did. Because of him. Burial at Scranton Catholic Cemetery. Military honors, honor guard, rifle salute, folded flag to Helen. His broken scope from 1944 buried with him, per his request. Headstone inscription, Vincent J. Mariano, Master Sergeant, U.S. Army, 1916 to 1998. He saw what others couldn't. Legacy continues today. Every U.S. military sniper school teaches displacement targeting. Core principle unchanged. When you can't see target, see how environment responds to target. Mariano's name in instructor materials. His broken scope, replica version, displayed at Fort Benning Sniper School Museum. Plaque reads, "Innovation comes from those who refuse to accept that broken means useless." That's how innovation actually happens in war. Not through official channels or engineering committees. Through sergeants and miners who see problems differently. Through those who break equipment regulations to save lives. Through coal dust and smoke, and understanding how things move in darkness. If this story moved you, hit that like button. Subscribe to make sure more stories like this don't disappear. Comment below. Where are you watching from? Tell us if someone in your family served. These men deserve to be remembered. You're part of keeping these stories alive. Thank you for watching. Thank you for remembering.